and that you could still save the life from having...
Basically, it's entitled to human rights because it's a human being.
Yep. But obviously, we don't live in an ideal world, right? Even adults who should have human rights don't have human rights, right?
What do you mean by that?
Well, death happens every day. I could die today. You could die today. Nothing really prevents it.
So, are you not alive right now, and are we killing you?
No, it's my main point is we can all agree on the same ideal, but have different ideas on how to get there, right?
Okay.
Right? Because there are circumstances where we have to choose between the life of the child and the life of the mother.
So, interesting question for you. What is your stance on abortion?
Well, it's a bit hard. For me, you can take different positions on it, and you can have different backing for that. You can have theological backing. You can have some kind of scientific backing. Ultimately, though, you do have to take a kind of position on a sort of unsolvable question.
Of course.
And it comes down to what you value, right?
So, what do you value?
I mean, I value human life, but I think there's definitely significant consequences if the government interferes and is not, capable of actually doing what they're setting out to do.
And when is the government interfering?
Well, the whole point is by restricting something, you're going to put pressure on the medical institutions to not do that thing, right? Maybe pass some laws that would penalize people from doing those things. I know Texas
I'm gonna
had
ask a few questions and then.
Because Texas had some laws specifically about trying to report people who were doing abortions, if I remember right. I don't know how many years ago that was.
Okay, yeah. So the real question, what I'm trying to get at with you is that where are you constituting that the government is intervening in life occurring? Because what we acknowledge is that the American Science Institution, American Science Association identifies life begins at the moment of conception. And since life begins at the moment of conception, you, and just like everyone else, has the right to live. It doesn't matter if you're in a coma. It doesn't matter that if you are 16 weeks and you're a premature baby. It doesn't matter if you are in the womb. Life begins at the moment of conception, and you have every right to live.
Yep. But again, we don't really have an ideal world in that case.
Well,
so
I think that
it really comes down to the nuance and how we enforce things.
So here's the nuance, right? Is that so obviously murder is illegal, but murder still happens.
Yep.
But the thing is that by that standard, we then have a method by which we can actually penalize and deliver justice in those cases.
But and then again, it comes down to the definition of murder because self-defense, right? So it's really about how we set those definitions with everything.
Well,
what is the definition of murder?
Yeah, exactly. How do you define it?
Oh, perfect. The definition of murder is the malicious killing of another person.
Okay.
So the evil forethought of taking someone else's life.
Okay, how do you define evil forethought?
Well, if someone's like, I want to terminate this pregnancy,
okay.
If I want to kill this child in my womb, that is premeditated murder.
So is it about the intent?
Well, it's the intent and the action.
The intent and the action. What if you have the action without the intent?
So what is intent? Intent is having the thought process of doing it.
Okay.
That is intent.
Right.
And actually conducting the action is the verb, which is murder.
Yep.
So the evil intent to take someone's life.
Okay. I just don't want to really on this definition of evil, right?
What about survival intent?
Yeah,
we'll talk about that in a moment.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Perhaps the mother has to make a hard choice, right? Her survival or the child's survival, right? In that case, would that fall under your definition of evil? Because you're using the keyword evil here. I want to kind of understand what you count as evil.
So, can we agree that a lot of pregnancies can be saved? Especially,
a lot, but not all of them.
Hold on. A lot, actually almost all of them, by cesarean.
Yes, you still put the almost in there. That's important.
By cesarean section. All right? Cesarean section is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but even that doesn't have 100% success rate.
Cesarean section is actually a lot safer than abortion.
I have seen some literature point to that. I don't think it's a widely accepted view, but I think there is some literature for it. Obviously, that literature is going to change over time, but I think it's a view you can have.
No, cesarean section is actually a lot safer than abortion because not only does cesarean section helps save both the life of the mother and the baby, but it also abortion.
The safety of the abortion determines how developed the fetus is, right? That affects the survival rates and the rates of complications, right?
Perfect. Guess what? A baby at 21 weeks could have survived by itself outside the mother's womb. Yes, if you put it in the NICU, which is an artificial gestation period for that premature baby.
Yeah,
that premature baby could go ahead.
Record for the earliest born child that survived NICU right here in San Diego. Remember, right?
It's 16 weeks.
It was a big point Charlie Kirk making.
It's about 16 weeks. So at the end of the day, life can still go ahead and occur, and life begins at the moment of conception, and that you can still save the life from having a cesarean section, and that there is no necessity for termination of the baby.
So you're making the claim that there is no point, there's no necessity ever for it.
No.
Because you did put an almost in front of your cesarean section.
Yeah, when I say almost, as in does accidents happen throughout life? Accidents do happen in life. All right, accidents happen in medicine all the time.
But that's the thing is, I don't think you can take that specific use case and then make it and then extend it to be therefore abortion for any reason at any time should be made available.
Oh, I never made that claim.
Yeah.
Well, no, but that's the thing. But I mean, that typically is the claim.
Yeah,
thing is, everyone claims they have a universalizable framework or something, and when you don't, you're still in tribalism.
So
right?
here's
like, I'm not a neo-Marxist. I don't agree with neo-Marxist backings for anything.
So
right?
here's the
but
claim.
You have to be perfectly universalizable of everything.
So here's the
Otherwise,
claim.
Your framework doesn't-
Condoms work 99.9% of the time.
Okay.
So does that mean that condoms don't work almost all the time?
Well, I don't know if that's exactly what
No, that's the exact number that the Trojan condoms goes ahead and says is that it prevents pregnancies 99% of the time.
99.
Got a haircut.
So
Yeah.
therefore,
It's good, man.
does that mean that 1% should count for all the other times that is pregnant?
Well, we're talking about
How long you guys
different
gonna be out
things.
here for?
No, I'm just we're just saying in a
I'll be
scientific
out here
perspective.
until about
All right,
12:45.
that almost happens because
So-
accidents do happen,
About an
right?
hour.
Accidents happen throughout life, throughout accidents, throughout
that's
medicine,
International
throughout
Fair.
everything.
Really cool
All
stuff
right,
going on over there.
when we receive a COVID vaccine,
So then they moved you guys.
could you still get COVID?
Well, no, we couldn't get a spot.
It
over there.
didn't
They had it
say
all
that the
marked out, so
COVID
we had to move
vaccine
over here.
was completely inadmissible, that
Well,
you were
I
never
have
going to get
a
COVID.
coffee
It just
date, but
says that
I
you're
wanna come
likely
back and
not
come
to
back.
get it. So that means you
Sure.
still can. So that means that accidents still can happen.
Yeah.
All right.
They will.
So yeah. So other than that, I think we relayed our points very well.
Well, I don't want to know your means. I want to know your goal, right? Your goal is less abortions, right? You want to protect human life. Do you think there's more than one way to go about that, right? Is it really a legal issue or a cultural issue?
Oh, that's a great question.
Well, I think
Exactly,
it's
because
both.
I can agree on the premise of what we want to shoot for, but my means may be different. Maybe I don't want to pass a law against something because I don't want to put people in a dangerous situation, even if it's unlikely.
But here's
and I
the
can use
thing.
a cultural path instead to push people towards that sanctity.
Well, no,
of
I mean,
human life.
obviously, like that it has to be both. Because obviously, if I'm a woman who's pregnant and I have it in my heart that I'm going to terminate this pregnancy, and I'm really hell bent on it, I am going
Well,
to.
why are you hell bent on it?
There's no feeling.
Like, because I've read cases of people
may I
who have
interject?
killed their children for
So,
economic reasons.
all
They
right.
didn't
So
want
I'm gonna let you know right now. I think abortion has to do a lot with cultural,
It can.
and the fact that people use it as an pregnancy, as in like just like having pregnancy pills,
Yeah, some people use
contraception.
it as birth control.
So another thing as well is the fact that we are saying a lot of the communities are saying, hey, it is okay to go ahead and have sex unwedded. It is
Yeah,
okay
in fact,
for
I'm
you to
pretty
go
sure
ahead.
If you talk to people 50 years ago, they thought birth control itself shouldn't be developed and should be legal.
So
because
let
they
me
didn't want
let me finish my point. So a lot of people are saying that it is okay for you to get pregnant. It is okay to get subsidized money from the government because at the end of the day, it is just another baby, is whatever like that. We are saying that is not okay. That the best way to go ahead and prevent unwanted pregnancies is probably not to have sex.
Yeah,
Is to practice
but
abstinence.
that you got to take that to the extreme because a long time ago, in fact, not even really that long ago, people didn't even want birth control to be legal because they didn't want people to even have the option to.
Absolutely.
Right?
But here's the thing, right? Is that from the legal framework, right? Having it not having no legislation on it, it therefore makes it permissible. When
I'm not saying I never made the claim that we shouldn't have legislation. I'm just trying to figure out where you draw the line.
Right, no, but
because I want to figure out what cases you're
I'm
overlooking.
well, the thing is that I'm providing basically the legal framework for it. Is that basically like the pipe dream of safe, legal, and rare? It's just that because the thing is that there's once you've made it permissible, there's you can have it for any reason at any time. That therefore goes direct. That is directly opposed to the ideal of having it be rare. That is directly opposed to it.
So, what's your cutoff? Like a quantitative number of weeks.
Oh, zero.
0 weeks.
Zero.
Is there
Zero.
any case where you think it should be legal?
No.
Right? Even if there is a medical necessity, right? Mother's life.
well,
versus
we
the
would
child's
contest-
Like I said,
that's a
cesarean
pretty
section can go ahead and
But
help.
why is going to affect those cases?
But the thing is that that's a presupposition. So we would say, okay, is there a medical necessity?
Here's a better question.
I know. Yeah, you're right. There is. We have to look into that.
But here's the thing: a lot of the times it has been founded that there was no medical necessity for an abortion because a lot of the times you can go ahead and have a cesarean section and save both lives.